Pilgrim's Progress. Now, this one we got an extra hilarious illustration. There he is. From this one to that which is to come. 1978. Delivered under the similitude of a dream in 2 parts. Contents: Christian's deplorable condition. Narrow gate. Everyone's burden at the cross. Facing enemy, Christian Jones faithful, there and there. Hopeful Jones Christian, delectable mountains. Ocean, shining ground. Blue thought, land and beyond. 2. Christianity began rebellion. Entrance to the way of the king in a narrow gate. By the way, that's the one I always take. The interpreter, Mr. Greatheart, the palace beautiful, humiliation and deliverance, minimal friends, the Pilgrim's company, summoned by the king. Onion, Tinker by Tree. Interesting. Examples or the original and edited versions as Christina and Mercy combo. Just text edits. I want to skip this poem. I want to get to the reading part. What was it? Hey, you must pipe it. No. See, I was going to skip it. Alright, I hate this poem anymore. Alright, here we go. Chapter 1. Christian's deplorable condition. As I walked through the wilderness of this world, I came to a certain place where there was a den, and laid down in that place to sleep. And as I slept, I dreamed a dream. I dreamed, and behold, I saw a man clothed with rags, standing in a certain place, heading away from his own house, with a book in his hand and a great burden upon his back. I looked and saw him open the book and begin to read. And as he read, he wept and trembled, not being able to contain his remorse any longer. He gave a lamentable cry, saying, "What shall I do?" In spite, therefore, I can't understand that picture. But, but they began to be hardened. I also thought to try another way. Walking the fields. And I answered, "Sir, I perceive by the book in my hand that I am condemned to die, and after that to come the judgment. And I find that I am not willing to do the first, nor able to do the second." Then the evangelist said, "Why are you not willing to die, since this life is attended with so many evils?" The man answered, "Because I fear that this burden that is upon my back will sink me lower into the grave, and I shall fall in a Tophet." And said, "If I am not ready to go to prison, I am not ready to go to judgment, and from there to execution. The thoughts of these things make me cry." Then the evangelist said, "If this is your condition, why are you standing still?" He answered, "Because I do not know where to go." Then he gave him a parchment roll, and there was written inside, "Flee from wrath to come." The man therefore read it, and looking upon Evangelist very carefully, said, "Where must I flee?" Then Evangelist said, pointing with his finger over a very wide field, "You see that? What? Do you see that narrow gate over there?" The man said, "No." Then said the other, "Do you see that shining light?" He said, "I think I do." Then he actually really liked this book. The evangelist said, "Keep that light in your eye and walk directly toward it. And you shall see the gate at which, when you knock, it shall be told you what to do. Run toward the gate." So I saw in my dream that the man began to run. And I had not run far from his own door when his wife, on showing perceiving it, began to cry after him and return. I think this is actually a book about, older and I'm reading again, about adulterers and adulteresses. Because obviously, someone's not a single man here. But the man put his fingers in his ears and ran on crying, "Wife, wife, eternal wife." So he did not look back, but fled toward the middle of the plain. The neighbors also came out to see him run, and as he ran, some mocked, others threatened, and some cried after him to return. And among those that did so, there were two that were resolved to bring him back by force. The name of one was Obstinate, and the name of the other was Pliable. Now by this time the man had gone a good distance from them. However, they were resolved to pursue him, which they did, and in a little time they overtook him. Then the man said, "Neighbors, why are you come?" They said, "To persuade you to go back with us." He said, "I cannot do that, for you live in the city of destruction, the place where I was born. I see it to be so, and dying there, sooner or later you will sink lower than the grave into a place that burns with fire and brimstone. Be content, good neighbors, and go along with me. Let's and leave our friends and our comforts behind us." Yes, said Christian, without his name, "because all that which you forsake is not worthy to be compared with a little of what I am seeking to enjoy. And if you will go along with me and hold it, you shall fare as I myself. For where I go, there is enough and to spare. Come away and prove my worth." She was something better. "What are these things you seek, since you leave the entire world to find them lost?" the knight asked. "I seek an incorruptible inheritance that is undefiled and does not fade away, and is laid up in heaven, and safe there to be bestowed at the time appointed. And all those that diligently seek it, read it so, if you will, in my book. Touch away with your book. Will you go back with us or not?" "No, I will not, because I've laid my hand to the plow." Obstinate turned to their other companion. "Come then, neighbor Bible, let's return home without him. There is a company of these crazy-headed, conceited men. When they take a fancy by the end, are wiser in their own eyes. And of course they use old country voices. Even when they're in the city, are wiser in their own eyes than seven men that can render a reason. Don't revile. If what good Christian says is true, the things he looks after are better than ours." My heart inclines to go with my neighbor, Pliable said. "But we're full still obstinate urge. Pay attention to me and go back. Who knows where such a brain sick fellow will lead you? Go back and be wise." Christian replied, "No, but do come with your neighbor there, but I will. Such things to me." Anyway. But yeah, it's basically a book about escaping the city of just the city. They call it the city of destruction in the book, but it's just a reference to the city because, as we all know, the Bible doesn't look kindly on the city. "Do you know the way to this desired place? I am directed by a man whose name is Evangelist." Oh, and by the way, if you're ever interested, if you're not interested in worshiping Jesus, you can become a Protestant evangelist. And it's like this little distinct class of, you know, Christian. It's not really Christian, it's like Bible believer. And I had to go through a lot of churches and stuff to find it out, but it's Protestant evangelist. To make haste to a little gate that is before us, where we shall receive instructions about the way. Come then, good neighbor, let us be going, and I will go back to my place. I will be no companion with such misled, fantastical fellows, he said. Beautiful, unspeakable glory. Now I saw in my dream, while I'm still hearing that Christian and Bible were talking, as if they walked over the plain, and so Christian began their discussion. Come there, Bible, how do you do? I'm glad that you are persuaded to go along with me. If often I have felt that I have felt of the powers and terrors of what is yet unseen, he would not so lightly have turned his back on us. Come, naked Christian, now that we are alone, give me a further explanation of what the things are and how they are to be enjoyed, where we are going. I can better conceive of them with my mind and speak of them with my tongue. Very wise statement. But yet, sincere desires to know, I'll read of them in my book. And do you think that the words of your book are certainly true? Yes, most certainly, for it was made by he who can not harm. Well said, Christian, what things are they? There is an endless kingdom to be inhabited, and everlasting life to be given us, Well said, and what else? Clouds of glory to be given us, and garments that will make us shine like the sun. Yeah, clouds of glory in the firmament of heaven. It is very pleasant, and what else? There shall be no more crying nor sorrow, for that is owner of the place, for he that is owner of the place will wipe all tears from our eyes. What company shall we have there? Sorry, there's a lot of sleeping line these days. And what company shall we have there? We shall be there with seraphim and cherubim, creatures that dazzle your eyes to look on them. There also you shall meet with thousands and 10,000s that have gone before us to that place. None of them are hurtful, but they are loving and holy, and walking as those. Now word, there we shall see the elders with their golden crowns and blah blah blah. You know the Bible said, hearing is not one's heart, but are these things to be enjoyed? How many should know? I cannot go so far. And I saw in my dream that as the end of this talk they drew near to a very miry swamp that was in the middle of the plain. Anyway, guys, these aren't really full book readings, as you can tell. I know you love them, but my health is improving, but it's not enough to get through this. But yeah, funny thing about books is everybody enjoy their own conclusions, as you all know. We directed me off somewhere gate. Let's cut the rafters down. 1 year for the steps I'll last, as there are no steps. Anyway.